Hey beauties, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I will be reviewing the new Dior Summer Collection Color Games. It arrived yesterday along with a box from Charlotte Tilbury. The only problem is this is not my order, but somebody else's, and I feel so terrible for the person who was expecting these items. So that review is gonna have to wait. I was planning on doing the bronzer eyeshadow palette first. The good news is I was able to get in touch with customer service. They were on it. I think I typed the email and I got a phone call 30 minutes later. And right on the website, it says due to COVID, lots of delays, up to 21 days for customer service. And I was like, why? I already placed my new order. It should arrive Wednesday of next week. As disappointed as I am not to be able to play around with that new bronzer and eyeshadow palette this weekend, I have to sing the praises for the team at Charlotte Tilbury. They were so fast and efficient, and I had dealt with them once before several months ago. I knew they were great, but I thought with everything going on with COVID, I might truly have to wait up to 21 days. I was preparing for the worst, but they were absolutely amazing about it. So huge thank you to them. And today we get to play with color. It's the Color Games collection from Dior, which I read on the website was inspired by the playgrounds of summer. I imagine they had to update that description since the Olympic Games were originally scheduled to take place this summer. And here we have dive and sprint. No playground I've ever visited has a diving board and a running track, but at least they were able to pivot and they're still seasonably appropriate. They're very summery, bright, bold, energetic. I'm gonna be curious to see what they come out with next summer when we do have the Olympic Games. But these are just so beautiful. Both eyeshadow palettes really stood out to me, and then I also picked up the lightest shade of the bronzer. This is called Light Flame, probably meant to represent the torch. This was all I picked up from the collection. I skipped out on the blushes, the nail color, the lip color, the little eye contour pencils, because this was all that was available on the Bloomingdale's website. That's where I placed my order. It was the first retailer that I saw carry this collection besides Dior.com. But they did have a little gift with purchase, which is sort of exciting. So I got this little Dior gift, which I'll go ahead and open up. Hopefully they still have this going on. I think it's always nice to get a little gift with purchase, and the Dior gifts are generally really nice. Ooh. Oh my gosh! It's beautiful! Usually I feel like the Dior little makeup bags are so small, and I love that beading. Oh my goodness. Ooh. A little dream skin. And that's it. This is the best Dior makeup bag I've ever seen, and I have another pink Dior bag up there. I have a couple little gift with purchase bags. They're never this nice. It's lined on the inside. Wow. Stepping up their gift with purchase game, but I love it. The first palette I'm gonna open up and swatch for you guys is Sprint. This is the eyeshadow that I have on my eyes today. I decided to play around with these colors this morning. I was getting ready to go meet my girlfriends for coffee, and I'm so glad I didn't do a first impressions. It just worked out so much better. In fact, the last few palettes I've purchased, it took me a few tries before I got it right. So I started to create a look, and it turned out so bad. I was running late. I didn't even care. I just had to start over completely from scratch. I ended up going with this look the second time around. I'm going to recreate this look or incorporate this palette in another tutorial sometime soon, but I can already share my thoughts. I didn't even attempt to film the makeup application earlier today, but I wanted to leave it on so you could at least see the makeup, see what's possible with this eyeshadow palette. But I am going to wash this off and we will play with the blue eyeshadow palette today because I have not touched the blue palette or that light bronzer. So today's review is kind of a mix. You'll see a first impressions of those two pieces, and with this you'll hear my thoughts and see the swatches. I don't think this palette stands alone very well. I really like it now that I've played with it twice, but it needs something else. You almost have to pull in another eyeshadow palette, pull in another single shadow. You just can't stick with just this. You probably could if you were gonna do something very light and natural, like I think you could do these two shades, maybe even these three. But there's something about these shades that it really did not work well when I used just this palette. That's what I started with. This orange eyeshadow looked terrible in the crease. It actually comes across as yellow, and a luminous yellow. It looked so strange because all of these eyeshadows are somewhat luminous. The texture feels incredibly smooth and silky, and these shadows just glide when you touch them, when you apply them to the lid. But with Dior shadows, they tend to be soft washes of color. It's more of a watercolor effect. You're not going to get intense pigment. So even though this looks really bold orange here, as soon as you pick up a fluffy brush and try to go in the crease, it shears it out so much that it doesn't give you the impact, but also the color just looks a little bit funny. Maybe it would look better on you, but I would say don't try it at home because it did not look really nice. If you're gonna try it, make sure you have plenty of time in case you have to do a redo like I had to. I went in with the orange on the lid. I did a little bit of the pink on the lower lash line. It's just a soft little pop of color, really pretty. I love the way my look turned out today, and I'm gonna keep playing around with it, but I did end up pulling in my Pillow Talk palette to give me the depth that I was looking for. You might wanna go in with something that's more pigmented. You also might want something that's a little bit more matte. I specifically wore my pink and orange sequin dress today. That way I could play with the pink and orange eyeshadow in this palette. And I think as long as you incorporate a couple different textures, you will love it. Before I wash this off so we can start from scratch, I'm gonna go ahead and swatch the Dive eyeshadow palette for you guys. This is 287, the blue palette. And I haven't seen anybody play around with this yet, which is why I wanted to do a look with this first. Once again, these eyeshadows feel so smooth and silky to the touch. And what I love about this blue eyeshadow palette from Dior is that they kept it all in the jewel tone family. A lot of their other blue palettes sort of hop around, and while they look really fun and interesting, they're not necessarily cohesive. Whereas this palette is truly all jewel tones, so these colors work really nicely together. I think it will be somewhat easy to create a really pretty, flattering look using these colors. I'm back. I removed my previous makeup. I reapplied my foundation, concealer, powder. I did my best to preserve my eyebrows, so right now in the viewfinder I feel like I look crazy. So let's go ahead and dig into this new bronzer. This is the Color Games Light Flame. The lighter of the two options. I figure since I picked up the darker Chanel bronzer, the new Charlotte Tilbury bronzer, a new Becca bronzer, I wanted to see what this light version was all about. Opening this up and seeing it in person, I'm not sure this is going to give me a ton of color. It might end up being a setting powder, especially when I've sunless tanned, but we will see. So I'm gonna go ahead and use this 05 Refer brush. I'm just gonna swirl around because I think this, ooh, wow. On the brush it looks pretty darn pigmented. Maybe this will give me color. A little bit. Something smells good. I don't know if it's the soap that's left on the brush. So this is actually looking a bit like a cheek to me. Kind of looks more like a blush. Not so much as a hint of luminosity. So it's very matte. I feel like I might as well keep applying it and see what happens. I'm not going to give up just yet. I may end up going back and getting the darker version because I think I'll get more wear out of it. But I do think this is really nice. It feels so silky smooth. It's almost creamy and buttery. You can't see it on the skin, and my cheeks almost look blurred. So I love the effect it gives. I'm not sure if this is the most amazing color for me, but I'm actually kind of liking it just because it's different. I imagine this is the bronzer that's intended for fair skin, so I'm not sure if you are really fair, if you'll like the fact that it has a rosier undertone. I definitely need something on my eyes, so I'm going in with this flat shader brush, and I'm picking up this really pretty light blue shade here, and I'm going to start working that on the inner lid. This color is so pretty, and it's building up really nicely. I think the key is to go in with a flat synthetic brush. Same brush, I'm going into this middle royal blue color. And I'm gonna start working this in the middle to outer lid. This color is so beautiful. I really don't want to ruin this first impressions like I did with the Sprint palette. I'm picking up this fluffy brush and I'm gonna lightly tap it into this pink. And I'm gonna very softly blend that into the crease. The pink mixes with the blue and becomes purple. It truly is like watercolor painting. I think it looks pretty as long as you keep it soft and nicely blended. Same brush, I'm going back into the outer lid and I'm just sort of patting that royal blue. With a precision brush, I'm picking up the pink shade. I guess it's sort of a berry. Pink, purple, berry, magenta. I'm gonna start running that underneath the lower lash line. Same brush, I'm picking up this deep eggplant and I'm gonna run that underneath the lower lash line, but only in the outer half. I'm only gonna take it in about a third. With another small precision brush, I'm going into this top peach shade, and I'm gonna pop that right inside. I went through my eyeliner drawer and I found this blue liquid eyeliner from Chanel 526 that I have not used yet. So why not, since we're doing a blue look? I'm gonna use this on the top lash line. I also pulled out the blue Charlotte Tilbury eyeliner, so I'm gonna go in with the metallic side, and I'm gonna run that in the waterline. I touched up my brows. I went in with a little bronzer because I felt like I needed a little bit more warmth to my face. And the viewfinder, it looks a little bit wonky. So I cannot wait to watch this video back and see what it looks like. In person, I think it looks really nice. I really love these shades. It's a little soft something. This pink shade ends up looking kind of purple whenever you mix it with the blues. I think this looks really pretty as an eyeliner underneath. This doesn't really do much. I think you could probably do more with it. I didn't do a lot. I just added a little bit in the inner corner and then right underneath my brow bone. I think the two blue eyeliners take it to the next level, and I wish I wasn't too lazy to put on fake lashes, but I'm just not putting on fake lashes right now. This look deserves fake lashes. It needs them. You're just gonna have to imagine more lashes. I really like both. I think these are two excellent palettes from Dior. The texture is smooth and creamy. They're not crazy pigmented, but they're not disappointing. Like, I think the color payoff is what you'd expect from Dior, maybe even a little bit better. In this palette, these browns are a little bit disappointing. The orange and the pink are beautiful though. That's really the pop, you know, that's why you're gonna pick this palette up. You're not really gonna pick this up because you wanna play with the two browns. I think they would be pretty on the lid. Not incredible blending out in the crease, but I think this palette has a lot of potential. And then this blue palette is probably my favorite. I feel like the shadows blended really easily. They applied really easily. There's so much you can do with this. It comes down to the dark blue in the center. This is the most beautiful color in the palette, and this is what I think most people hoped for out of the blue in the Charlotte Tilbury palette, except it just comes across really dark, really chalky, deep navy, whereas this is very bright and vibrant and just so pretty, so summery. So I love everything about this. I love the 5 shades that they put in this quint. I think this is the most cohesive blue palette that Dior has. And the bronzer, which isn't really a bronzer, it's maybe a finishing powder. Maybe it will be a light bronzer on somebody if you're very fair. I still think this is so pretty. I don't know what it is about it. That undertone is so strange. It's sort of rosy bronze and it's matte. So there's no luminosity and it kind of gives this airbrush effect to the skin. So I think this is really pretty. I'm hoping I can use this maybe as a setting powder whenever I've sunless tanned a couple times and then I'm adding bronzer into my foundation and going for a very bronze look. I think this would be a really pretty powder for all over the face. I'm really happy with it. I'm so tempted to get the darker shade as well. This collection is beautiful. It's exactly what I would want for summer. It's very energetic. It's bold, but it's not too bold. It's colorful. It's playful, but it's very wearable at the same time. I think I can create a lot of easy looks with both of those palettes. Even the blue palette, you could just do a little blue on the lid or a blue eyeliner, and then at least you have some sort of pop of color. You know, you don't have to take it extreme every single time, in case this is too much for you and you're like, what did you do? And that completes my review. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Be on the lookout for a tutorial using that orange palette sometime very soon. If you liked today's video, give it a thumbs up. Leave me your comments, questions down below. I'm very curious to hear your thoughts on these two palettes. Which is your favorite? Drop me a comment. As always, I will be linking everything mentioned, everything on my face down in the description box for your convenience. If I can locate the other pieces, I will link the entire collection, including the pieces that I did not pick up. And if that gift with purchase is still available from Bloomingdale's, this might secretly be my favorite thing from the collection. If I can link it, I will absolutely do so. And for more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell.